Welcome everyone, and today we're going to go through a process that I call falling into loneliness, access to love. This is a very important process to actually help support people to move into their more loving part of themselves. Very frequently, when people are looking for love, they're rushing around and thinking that they need to take different actions or more actions to meet the right person or get out there. And then they come up with not really achieving very much or feeling quite disheartened that, things aren't happening. So one of the reasons why, you may be going through a pattern of experiencing that nothing seems to be showing up or nothing seems to be happening, a good place to look is that supports that process is to look at your relationship with loneliness. And loneliness, has an element of having us feel like we want to hide away from it or run away from it or pretend or deny. It's a very shadowy part of our psyche, and yet it's something that we've all experienced at some point in our life. And for a lot of us, there is a unconscious or aspect to our loneliness or lonely part of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge and that we don't want to look at. And until we're able to acknowledge the depth of our alienation or the depths of our feeling maybe abandoned, or the depths of just feeling separated from people or from life, that once we start to merge and move into accepting those feelings of loneliness and we actually fall into them, then we are unable to transcend them by accepting them and moving them through into the light and into acceptance. So what I'd like to suggest for all of you is to, when you do this exercise, to do this in a place where you're completely on your own. You're free to make as much sound as you like. Take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour of uninterrupted time. And what you're going to do is basically allow yourself to feel into the loneliness that resides within you, and to get in touch with the moments where you felt so deeply and totally alone. And I want you to take your time with this, and similarly I want you to go in succession and see each of the moments that you felt that loneliness, almost like flipping through an album of pictures. And I want you to scour all areas of your life. When looking at your relationship with loneliness, don't deceive yourself into thinking that that's not you or that's not something that you have. There will always be an aspect in all of us where our lonely I pervades us, and until we can get in tune and in touch with and break through and find out where that aspect of our loneliness is sitting hidden, and we can bring it to the surface, can we start to really heal it and start to accept it, and that feeling of not good enough then disappears or dissipates. So I'd like you to look throughout your life in the different areas of your life where you felt alone. It could have been in relationships with other people. It could have been maybe in a pattern of relationships that you were in, that you've consistently felt like that in relationships. Or it could be that there's just always been this pervasive, deep aloneness from the moment you were a child and throughout the rest of your life. This feeling of not being accepted, or feeling like a misfit, like you didn't belong, or that you were always on the fringes looking in. So the feeling of being extremely different had you feeling like people didn't understand you, and that left you with extreme feelings of separation and cut off from other people. Look at time frames when you were at school, where you maybe felt cut off from other people and felt severely alone because you never felt like you had any real friends, or you felt like you were left out at school, or you weren't accepted, you didn't belong, or you weren't in a group of friends. Maybe you were always made to feel like you were left out and therefore not very popular, perhaps. Or maybe it could be that you felt like, for some people, it's the loneliness could be that you've been trying to put a lot of your focus and energy in one area of your life. We see that a lot in people, working very hard in their careers. And, like the phrase goes, it's very lonely at the top. So they may feel like they've been working and working, but they're actually lonely in their career. It's not fulfilling, and it might be because they feel that they are accomplishing in their job, but it feels lonely because they don't feel the love that they have always wanted, right? So it could be that they're working and you're in a relationship, but the relationship isn't fulfilling you, and you feel lonely there, right? So I want you to really scan all those different aspects of your life, and I want you to allow yourself to grieve if that's what's present for you. And I want you to get in touch with and feel the grieving part of that lonely, most deepest part of you. And allow yourself to grieve for those moments where you felt that intense loneliness. Maybe it was that you just felt totally unlovable. Maybe there were men in your life that, chose to go with other women, and they never chose you. So it made you feel lonely because you didn't feel like the chosen one, or you didn't feel like the wanted one. So you felt lonely because you never felt wanted. And I want you to really get connected with the feelings of intense loneliness. Perhaps you even told yourself at some stage that, what's the point, because I'm always going to be on my own. Maybe the loneliness that you've been feeling is just that you've pretty much made up your mind, told yourself that your life is going to be a lonely life, and that you're always going to be on your own, and that inside of that there's an intense loneliness because you're separating yourself from what could be. So I want you to continue to acknowledge those moments, and acknowledge them fully, and allow yourself to feel the full range of emotions that are there. This is not your opportunity to withhold in any way. You've been doing this for a very, very long time, so I want you to really let up. Let up all of the feelings, all of the emotions. This is completely safe. It's a completely safe, sacred space. And allow yourself to cry if that's what wants to come out. Allow yourself to wail if that's what wants to come out. Allow yourself to hit the pillow if that's what wants to come out. but get present to all of those moments that you felt that loneliness. And this is not the opportunity to pretend or continue denying. The only access is in being with it and feeling into it. And as you continue to be with your aloneness, start now to feel what's happening inside as you start to accept the moments that you're being with. Notice what's happening. Notice a little bit more freedom coming to your space. Notice a little bit more air. As you keep being with those lonely moments that you remember, the lonely identity, notice that you're starting to feel more peaceful. You may not be all there yet, but notice how much more peaceful you feel. And as you now start to scour through the other moments or clips in your album, I want you to also see yourself in your mind's eye. And as you take each moment, I also want you to see yourself there, standing there in that moment. And I want you to say, as you see yourself in those moments, that you really stand by you. So if you're saying it to yourself, you say, I stand by you, and your name. If I was saying it to myself, I would say, I stand by you, Pascal. I stand by you. And in your mind's eye, picture yourself with your hand behind someone's back and allowing the you that you see in that moment when you're alone to feel someone's hand right there behind you, standing firmly behind you. And if you want that hand to go up and down your back as a reassuring hand or a stand, then please do so. But make sure that stand is there. I stand by you. Alternatively, it could be that you see yourself standing behind yourself in those moments of loneliness, and you let yourself be caught. Allow yourself to be caught, like someone that falls back and is catching you and says the words, I stand by you. And have the feeling, if you want to be caught, that someone has got your back. So the other thing you can say is that, I back you up always. And in each moment that you keep moving to, as you keep seeing the lonely part of yourself, see someone standing behind you, catching you, and say, I back you up always. I back you up always. I back you up always. And take in the feeling of having yourself be there to back yourself up. Allow yourself to take that in. Perhaps that may be the first time that you've allowed yourself to stand by you. And I want this to be the time, as you say, I back you up always, for yourself to make a promise to yourself that I will back you up now and always, and that I will not leave you. And allow yourself to feel that reassurance of being completely and totally backed up as you keep allowing those feelings of aloneness to come to the surface. And I want you to move through each and every one of those moments, scouring and scanning, making sure that you've really got all of those key moments.